God has done with us and with me, and growing and stretching and seeing change really in people and stuff like that. And this has been an awesome thing. But I wanted to recap really quick. I want to see if you remember some of this stuff. I want to recap some of the titles of the messages that we've done, that God has really been, dealing with us and speaking with us about. If you remember our very first one, anybody have a clue? What was it about? Anyone remember anything? What? No visual, no idea? No? All right, well, we'll see. Here, let's put the first one up. This one was our very first one. This is the first message that I gave. And it was for a couple weeks. You guys remember now? My life's anchor. And we talked, now this was in my, Mother's Day was our first day. Mother's Day was our first day. And I felt God, actually my wife was the one that really encouraged me to give this. This was a little, a message that I gave, I think, a month earlier at my dad's church. For those who remember, we meet in our dad's church. They have a service a little bit later than ours, a Spanish church. And so this is the one that I gave. I was like, as we start the first message that God is calling us to be, or calling us to live by, and encouraging people, is we have to make God our life anchor. He needs to be the one to be able to, that keeps us grounded, and we have to be grounded in Him. So that was the first thing. The second one took a couple weeks off, and then it was around 4th of July. And so you can put the next one on. That was the American Renewal. There's that one there. There's been a lot. One of the biggest callings that I felt as a pastor that God was really putting on me was to be able to serve, kind of like military. What do? They serve God and country. And I felt the same calling. And at first, my wife thought it was really stupid. She didn't want it. But I was like, God, I have this strong feeling, do that. That phrase wouldn't leave me alone, serve God and country. And so I started looking at chaplains, like military chaplains, stuff like that. And I found out that I can have a Bible in one hand and a gun in the other. I thought that was pretty beastly. And so I was like, all right. But then I found out some chaplains don't have a gun. So I was like, that's not cool. So no. I don't know about that. And so, now she didn't like the idea. But I thought it was cool. The idea was good. But then I don't know if that was me, I don't know if that was me so far. And so I was really thinking, and that's where God gave me this opportunity. And I believe that what I'm doing, and one of my biggest purposes, is to help you see the same thing, that's your calling as well, to serve both God and others, both God and our country, who we are right now. And so we talked about that a little bit, and how what we needed, we need to renew our purpose in God, and renew, whether it be history that has been lost, and really understanding and renewing our role as Christians, why we need to be involved in what's happening, because if we're not, things things are happening. And so it's a little reason why. So that was a big thing that God was calling us. Remember, to see the change in others, we got to be the change first. So that was a couple of weeks that God had put in our hearts to, we need to be the ones to be renewed. And so, all right, next one. You guys remember this next one, the Heartbreak Warfare we did for a couple of weeks? Was this one This one was a Genie Springs day, Heartbreak Warfare. Yeah, that was. Remember the day that I had showed that video with the stream and the cracks in the ground, and this one we talked about how there's so much happening, coming against us, and especially in our hearts, and for those that are Christians, it seems to be even more, because when you want to draw closer to God, we talked about that verse yesterday. Bible says if you draw closer to God, He draws closer to you. That's the secret. For you to feel God near, you have to make just that effort, and then He does the rest. Well, in you making that effort, you're going to have all hell come against you, especially your heart, to make you feel like you're not good enough, to make you feel like, that one step you took, they're going to want to make you take 5 steps back, whether it be a slip up or anything like that. And we talked about how you need to, give God your heart, and even in all those cracks and all those wounds, for whatever reason, I know some people don't like it, that they say, well, why does bad things have to happen to good people? Why is there evil in the world? Those are very complicated questions that you can ask God later on for a better answer, because I'm not Him. And so, but I gave you that visual of the Genie Springs, that ground was cracked. And because the ground was cracked, this fresh water was able to come out. And, it was very refreshing, and it was a blessing. And so having the same thing, God can take all of our cracks and all of our brokenness and all of our messed upness, He can take all that. And through all those cracks, if we allow Him to work in us, He floods this, love like nothing else. There's this one verse that talks about how God accepts a broken heart. He never rejects a broken heart. Someone that recognizes that, God, I am messed up and I need you, God will never